Hello and welcome to the NHL Best Bet in Good Friday. We had a good day yesterday, already on Thursday for our picks. We selected one that was correct. Washington played in Long Island against New York Islanders. Islanders was a much better team this time. They won 8-4 and pick was as predicted. Then Minnesota Vegas. Vegas was struggling a bit in scoring. Game was 2-2 after regular time, and by that way under a lot of shots by both teams, but not too many goals. Both goaltenders played very well, especially Cam Talbot in Minnesota. So Minnesota has two very good goaltenders right now. Game ended 3-2 for Minnesota after shootout. Tommy, what's your take out of these two games?
Of course, it's not good to make deficit like we did. A couple of dollars there, but both of these games I think were good picks still. In Vegas, a little bit maybe issue scoring now for the home team. They did create a lot of chances, but good game from Minnesota's goaltending. Also defensively good effort and good game from Minnesota, who were a little bit tired, look a little bit underwhelming at times, but they did manage to grind out the victory in the end. So very good game on the road for the Wild. But I do think that it could have been one goal each more, and that would have taken us over easily. But this time it wasn't meant to be. I'm not too distraught by this pick because I do think that it was a good one. And then, of course, in New York, Islanders bounced back from their defeats and beat Washington properly and definitely showed that they are to be considered contenders this year again. Of course, Matthew Barzal's great game, 3 goals and a couple of assists to top it. So maybe not the best effort defensively from either of the teams, but New York Islanders definitely took the easy victory in this one, and Capitals were having their day off defensively especially. So very good pick, and always when Islanders return home and get this sort of a chip on their shoulder, they will be a difficult team to beat.
Yesterday we discussed a few other games as well. Some of these big favorites took care of business as expected. Tampa and Florida, both Florida teams won at home. And then Pittsburgh won on the road against Boston. No surprises here.
No surprises. Definitely a very good night for the system. If we managed to pick one of the games that was incorrect, we had in every category, 3 categories that we have, only one game incorrect. And of course, one of them was the totals that we picked from the Minnesota Vegas game, but it was also set to be the won by Minnesota, so good profit, plus 133. Also Penguins plus 110 from there, and then the favorites did take the victory in other games as we predicted, except for Montreal Ottawa. Ottawa was a little bit of a letdown, but we got the totals correct in that game as well. So extremely profitable night in all categories except for our 2 picks, but that's how it is sometimes.
Yeah, I think there wasn't too many surprises in last night. Some of these trends that we've seen during the last weeks were a little bit shakier. For example, Dallas, Nashville won 4-1, and good stride what Nashville had was vanished very quickly. So what do you think? Is this just one game that Nashville guys will forget by tomorrow, or was this end of their good streak?
I think every streak comes to an end, as we saw with Buffalo. They didn't lose anymore until they lost again. But I think Dallas was a lot better team in this game, and maybe Nashville's rise has been a little bit I'd say it looks better than it was. They still have their issues. Of course, when they get their game going from the defense, the goaltending is playing better. They have the chance to win. But of course, this sort of thing doesn't last forever. So they have a lot of work to do. Similarly, though, Dallas going up and down like we've seen, it's a very hard team to predict. So if they play as well as they did, for example, last season in the playoffs, they are a very hard team to beat. But we've also seen a lot worse from the Stars this season. So up and down, difficult to predict team. This time we got it right, even if we doubted the machine a little bit yesterday.
Never doubt the machine. That's what we've learned, and that's how we trust for tonight. Picks as well fully for the machine. So here we have two games from the West division. I think it's Honda West or Toyota West or some other Japanese car maker West division. San Jose goes to LA. Kings host them in Staples Center, and both teams have a bit up and downs during the last few games. San Jose played well at home. They won Minnesota twice, and last game Kings won Vegas on the road, so that was good performance by the Kings after 4 losses on the road before coming now back to home. So Kings traditionally good team in their first home game after the road trip. We expect them to win with odds minus 114. And then St. Louis travels to Colorado. Another game from the West Division that we haven't been so accurate, but in totals we trust here that Colorado scoring machine is going as we seen during the last few games. Maybe not 8 goals by them, but at least enough to go over 5.5 goals.
Yeah, pretty interesting games, especially the Colorado St. Louis. They have some sort of rivalry going on, have had for a while. St. Louis this season quite disappointing. Of course, a lot of injuries, so we haven't seen the best from St. Louis yet. Colorado, on the other hand, now they've gotten their engines going. They're scoring at will. They have the probably the best offense in the league when it comes to the balance of all 3-4 lines, and also the young defensemen who are able to support the offense. St. Louis has no weapons to stop that sort of game that Colorado is playing. So I think Colorado will score that, let's say, 4 to 5 goals against St. Louis, and probably Blues will then try to chase the game, and there will be a couple of goals from them as well. But a clear over in my papers, and the machine has that game going over for 57% of the time. So great value for the over here. And then going to California, like you mentioned, San Jose and Los Angeles Kings, both a little bit up and down teams. At times, both of them look like they might be going to the playoffs, might be challenging the better teams in the West, and then sometimes they look awful. So we'll see which way it goes this time. Kings, like your hat 2014 was the last time they were good. They have been not extremely good this season, but at times shown that they can definitely challenge the other California teams, if not the best ones. Good goaltending, good young core of a defense. They are, I think, in this game, they are beating San Jose, even if San Jose had a good outing in their home games a couple of nights ago.
There are 4 other games tonight on schedule. Do you have any other picks that you want to highlight based on our great machine?
Yeah, a couple of interesting games. Let's keep in the West for a while. There is Anaheim facing Arizona. 2 teams that are pretty low scoring. We do have that clearly going under. We have only 2.1 goals per team scored in that game. But there is always a little bit of a worry when you have, let's put it straight, that 2 bad teams facing each other, that it's going to be more of a goal scoring affair than a defensive affair. So we stay out of that one. But it is a very 50-50 coin flip kind of a game. We have a value there for the home team, Anaheim, who have played a little bit better than we've seen in a couple of the last games. So could beat Arizona there in their home ice.
Do you think there would be the first string goalies available? Because I think especially in Arizona, they took beating from the Colorado, and there was Mr. Hill in goal, at least started during the game. So under requires usually good goaltending. Can Arizona provide it tonight?
Yeah, I'm not actually sure who are the confirmed keepers because Aiden Hill was there because of injuries to their two better goaltenders. So it does not seem likely that there is any other options for Arizona than Aiden Hill, who is a decent keeper, but definitely not as good as Darcy Kemper or Antti Ranta would be. Similar thing for Anaheim. John Gibson is likely still out. Ryan Miller probably starting. So that is a very questionable thing in there. But if you have very bad goaltenders, you automatically play a little bit more defensively, so maybe that will counter the goal scoring. And when neither team is a very good goal scorer, it might still be an under.
Another game where the total is quite clearly differentiating from the Vegas line. So Toronto plays in Winnipeg, and Machine shows many goals here, even though Winnipeg should have Connor Hellebuck as starting goaltender there, and Toronto hasn't scored too many goals during the last 5 games. So do you think this would go over, even though the line is already 6?
Yeah, it's another really interesting matchup, and of course the offenses of both teams are extremely good. Like you mentioned, Connor Hellebuck, better goaltender or best goaltender in this matchup, whoever plays for Toronto, be it Fredrik Anderson or Jack Campbell. But in the simulations, it goes clearly over 66%, over 6.0 goals. So I think historically these two teams are very offensive teams. They don't really shine when it comes to defensive play. So it might be that this is the reason why the simulations believe in the over. And of course, we would like to see a lot of goals when these two teams meet. Last time, Auston Matthews and Mitch Marner took the show. So maybe this time Winnipeg will have a little bit better luck. I do think that Blake Wheeler is out for Winnipeg. So a little bit a notch worse offense there, but we'll see how it goes.
And then Washington will have back-to-back game tonight, now against New Jersey. Do you think they'll tide up their defense, or will it be another 8 goals fest by the home team?
Definitely not 8 goals by New Jersey Devils. That's probably something we won't see this season. New Jersey Devils had their slump. I remember they were not able to win any games. Now they won a couple, so a little bit bounce back there. But I do think that Capitals is a lot better team than we saw last night. They are a better team than Devils. When this sort of team takes a huge beating, I think they will bounce back, and it will be a tough game for the Devils to see these angry Washington Capitals. And Alex Ovechkin is not the easiest guy to play against when he is pumped up. So I do think that Capitals will win it, and the simulations show value. 68% of these games go to Capitals. The odds are around 60%, so good value for road favorite in this case.
Very good. We'll follow all of these games and see how our picks and how the machine performs tonight, and we'll be ready to review this tomorrow.
Yeah, have a good Friday.